SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Pike County, here comes your morning show. Dave in the morning on 93.5 FM, SuperTalk Mississippi.
So now, understand, you're not going to dictate to me what I do and what I don't do, but I'm still the mayor, Mr. Brown.
Bloody angle, the symmetry. Your cheap adhesive isn't holding me. My mouth is a gun I can shoot. I can show you the truth. No pun intended, no punishment. If I offended you, you needed it. Ideas are the bones in your mind. A fisher in time. If you don't have a weapon, you can't have mine.
None of this meeting is recorded. None by any parties. Correct?
No, sir, mine is recorded. I'm being accused.
Any conversation.
Said I want to make it on record. I want the allegations in writing, or the accused, or on recording of this harassment.
I'm not afraid. I'm getting into grievances again. I'm down to absolute zero. I'm not the devil, but I won't be your hero.
And now, here's your host, Dave Hughes.
Hello to you. Good morning. How you doing? Yeah, I know it's overcast, but it could be worse. Might be worse. We're about to talk about that. 50% the chance of rain today with a high of 85. A little bit of rain chance tonight and tomorrow, and then off into a lovely patch of clear, sunny, beautiful weather. That starts Thursday and goes at least through Monday. We'll take it. Do hope you're having a wonderful day. A lot of stuff to talk about this morning. A lot of stuff going on. However, we're going to start, since we started with weather this morning, we're going to start with something that you may have seen popping up. There are some computer models out there showing we're going to get hit by a hurricane in about 2 weeks. Okay, we just plop that out there on the table and then we can discuss it. About 8 to 10 days. Now, the National Hurricane Center does not issue forecasts any further out than 7 days. That's what they do. That's the way they've always done it. But long-range computer models, because even though the forecast is only issued out to 7 days, they continually run the long-range forecast models 2-3 weeks in advance. The reason why the National Hurricane Center doesn't go any further than 7 days is 7 days a week is about the outer limit of where you can have any kind of confidence in the forecast, because you may not have noticed this, the weather changes on a regular basis. And what is true today, it might not be true in 10 days. It may look like everything's lining up perfectly, and then all of a sudden something goes wonky, something goes sideways, and we wind up with a different weather pattern. So, there is not a grain of salt on the planet big enough to take this forecast with. It's just not possible. But the computer models are showing this, and it's making the rounds now on social media, and people are talking about it. I had someone ask me yesterday. They said, we got another hurricane coming, right? No, we're not quite to that point. Sorry, we're not. The GFS is hinting at it, and it would be the same situation that we had with Francine, except hopefully it wouldn't, be coming straight through Pike County like they told us Francine was going to, and then it made that sharp right turn over Lake Pontchartrain and missed us completely, and wasn't much of an event to begin with. This series of models that are out there showing this show a low pressure system forming in the Gulf, like Francine did, and then trucking right on up and almost directly hitting New Orleans. One of the models shows that. Another one shows it going in a little bit to the east, actually over around Mobile. But either way, as you see this, and boy, does this lead into a topic we need to continually talk about as I see things happening. Don't believe everything you read. Could this happen? Oh, yeah, definitely. We could also get zapped by aliens like the movie Independence Day in the next 10 days. Is that going to happen? Nah. Could it? Well, technically, yeah, I guess so. So it's good guidance. It's something to make you look at and go, well, okay, yeah, I see where that could happen. But until we get about a week out, there is pretty much zero confidence in it. So when you see this circulating and you see people talking about it, no harm in talking about it as long as you remember these long-term computer models. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Let's let another 3-4 days go by, and then we can have a discussion about this. But as I see people starting to get stirred up, and understandably so, I get it, just remember this is the golden rule, which has been expanded now for a while because the internet is, well, the internet. The rules have changed. You cannot believe it just because you read it. Somebody typed something out that doesn't make it true. We see that all the time. But it's expanded now in a couple of different ways. Number one, continuing in the online area, thanks to AI, you can't believe what you hear or what you see anymore, even if it's in video. We have to become a lot less credulous to make it at this point. Now, this is not the same situation. This is a long-term computer model. Nobody's misrepresenting this. Nobody's saying that, somebody made this up, scare everybody. No. It's being put out as an early warning to get people paying attention to it. And for that part of it, for that aspect, it's good. It's doing good work. But don't take it to heart. You should not be tasting those milk sandwiches already. Don't even know if anything's going to happen. And I have seen several this year that the long-range models showed that, well, we had something bad coming, and then nothing happened. So just remember, enormous grain of salt. But it's expanded into everything because there's a difference between deceptive content, whether it be in print, video, audio, whatever, and just flat out lying. And it's becoming more and more clear that that's what ABC News did in the debate. Fact check after fact check that they did against former President Trump. Well, now it's come out a week or two weeks later. Well, it turns out he was right. Never mind. We apologize for that. How about you try to get it right the first time? That would be nice. So when I say we have to be more credulous, it's a defense mechanism at this point. Your first reaction to everything should be, yeah, right. And then if it interests you, if it impacts you directly, if it's important to your day-to-day life, then take a look at it and see what you think. But you should start from a position of, yeah, right. And it either stays there or it proves itself to be something worthy of rising up the ranks. We have far too many people that believe anything they hear just because they agree with it. That's not helping anyone. So keep that in mind as we move forward over the next 2 months, which are going to be more chaotic than you could possibly imagine. No, I'm not joking on that. It's going to get goofier from here.
I never thought you'd hurt me. I guess
This ramp up is going to be historic. It's going to be epic between now and November 5th. The nonsense level is going to be off the charts. When we come back, we do have the agenda for tonight's work session of the Macomb City Board of Mayor and Selectmen. We also have the sales tax diversions for the August reporting month. Came out late yesterday. We'll take a look at those and continue our discussion about revenue for the city of Macomb when we come back on Super Talk, Mississippi, Pike County 93.5. Keep it here.
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
Don't miss Dave in the morning, even when you miss it the first time. You can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. Super Talk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have to pray. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page.
North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on Super Talk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of Macomb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at supertalkpikecounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
Who's watching me?
I'm just an average man with an average life. I work from 9 to 5. Hey, hell, I pay the price. All I want is to be left alone in my average home. But why do I always feel like I'm in the twilight zone? And I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy.
Welcome back.
I always feel
When your daddy owns the record company, you can get Michael Jackson in his prime to sing backup on your first single.
when I come home at night,
That's what happened here.
I get the door real tight.
Tuesday morning, a little bit of a shower developing in Pike County down to the west of Magnolia. That's all we got at the moment, but there's more coming. Go ahead and brace up for that. It's going to be a wet day at times. That's okay, though. Umbrella. That's the word of the day, umbrella. And that'll take care of any rain that comes in your direction. Okay, yesterday, every month, the Department of Revenue releases the sales tax diversions to municipalities. They do it on the 15th, or the closest weekday to the 15th, because, well, you know, this time around, the 15th was on a Sunday. They ain't working on Sunday. Don't blame them. So they put it out yesterday. Now, as you know, we've talked about this many times. Sales tax diversions, well, it's a 3-month cycle. The first month, tax is collected. You go into the store, spend your money. Pay your taxes. As you're spending your money, they give you your change. Does that even happen anymore? Everyone uses card now. I don't know that there's a lot of change giving happening. Second month, the tax is paid to the Department of Revenue and reported. Then the third month, the municipalities get the check. They get the money. These reports are based on the second month in that cycle, which means this report is for August. This is the money they'll be getting. This is the official August report. I'd love to tell you there are some major surprises here. There are not. And let's just tiptoe through the numbers here together and see what's up. I'm going to start with Summit this time because last year in the August report, Summit had $58,277. This time around, 1 year later, it's gone from $58,000 to $63,633.22. That's a nice boost. And you have to remember something. Way back, I say way back, it feels way back, just 2, 3, 4 years ago, I actually called Mayor Percy in Summit because I got the report out and said, holy cow, what are you guys doing? Because it shot through the roof, because Summit always ran around the $20,000 to $30,000 range in sales tax diversions, and all of a sudden it shot up. Well, here's the thing. It never really went back down. It still remains about double every month what it was 5 years ago. That's good work. That's impressive. And that's also proof positive that it's possible in Pike County. Same thing with, and this one might surprise you, Magnolia. Last year, Magnolia, for the August report, had sales tax diversions of $44,311.95. This year, it's gone from $44,000 to $51,218.84. Another nice improvement. Well done. Doing something right there somewhere. So out of the 3 major municipalities in Pike County, Summit is up. Magnolia is up. Macomb, last year, the city of Macomb had $550,837 in sales tax diversions. That was last year. This year, they went from $550,000 to $529,903. For the year to date, which is a bit misleading because, number one, the year-to-date numbers on these reports don't match up with the fiscal year for the city of Macomb. The sales tax revenue reports, their year-to-date starts July 1st and runs through June 30th. Whereas the city of Macomb fiscal year starts October 1st and runs through the end of September. So they don't completely match up. But since July, the 2 months we have had so far, July and August is all that's in. Macomb is down about $50,000 over last year. For July and August added together last year, we were already at $1,122,000. This year, we're at $1,068,000. This is why I said yesterday, sales tax is not going up, it's going down. And unless you want to squint and turn your head side to side and try to pull some sort of trickery with your language to try to fool someone into believing that 122 is less than 68, nobody's buying the story at this point. Sales tax diversions are down, not up, down. Not flat, down. We, as you know, 1 week ago today, passed a budget increasing the planned spending for the city of Macomb by another $344,000 on top of the $1 million we increased it last year, which we fell $1 million short on in revenue. So we're the kind of apparently we have the mindset that we see the barn is on fire, so we grab the gas can. Why not make it worse? What could go wrong? Boat's already sinking. It doesn't matter if I drill another hole. It's a small hole. That appears to be the mindset. Brookhaven, by the way, because we do compare Macomb and Brookhaven, because again, similarly sized cities located 20 miles apart on the interstate. It's probably the best lab test environment for comparing two cities in the state of Mississippi in terms of sales tax revenue. Last year, they had $591,767 in August. This year, $626,327. That's about $35,000 up. This year, they're about $40,000 up total for the 2 months. So, Brookhaven, going up. Not flat, not down, going up. It is not the overall economic problems. It is not the area of the state that we're in. It's not any of the trite excuses that get trotted out on a regular basis to explain, well, we're not doing anything wrong, I promise. It's just the way things are right now. Well, it's not the way things are in Summit or Magnolia or Brookhaven. So what's so special about Macomb? I'm just going to say it. My opinion, it's very clear what's wrong in Macomb. Mismanagement. Now, there was one extenuating factor. There is one extenuating factor for the city of Macomb. I think part of this, at least, is the impact of the Delaware Avenue bridge work. That had an impact on the amount of money spent in Macomb because a lot of people didn't want to get off the interstate in that mess, even when they could. So they just went on. So yes, I think that definitely had an impact. But again, we keep seeing all of this, all of these discussions, hearing all of these arguments and screaming matches about whether or not a selectman should use letterhead from the city when he writes an official letter. This is the kind of nonsense that time and energy is being wasted on while the business owners in Pike County suffer and continue to suffer more with every month that goes by. But it's okay. I'm looking out for you. They're not going to disrespect me. That is why my reaction yesterday and moving forward is sit down, shut up, and do your job. That's not your job. Nobody cares if you get disrespected. Nobody cares if you don't feel like you're getting enough attention or you haven't been petted properly at some point in the last 6 months. Do your job. Get these numbers up. Well, I don't have anything to do with that. You want to bet? Going down the interstate, Brookhaven up. Summit up. Macomb down. Magnolia up. This is not hard to see. Everybody on the interstate there, their sales are up and Macomb's are down. You are not an innocent victim of economic circumstance. You're the pilot of the Titanic, whistling a merry tune and telling the co-pilots how much you love icebergs. Stop it. Well, it's crime everywhere. Did you see the reports out of Summit? At the end of last week, their sales tax are up. So nope, can't blame that either. Sorry. That's the go-to excuse usually is, well, I wouldn't want to go to Macomb either. The crime is so bad. Look at Brookhaven's crime stats. Look at Summit's crime stats. Come on. I've been saying this for a couple of years now. You and I have had this conversation multiple times. The city of Macomb, at this point, one of the biggest things facing it is a perception problem. Things have now devolved to the point to where everyone's general emotional reaction when they hear a mention of Macomb is to go, ugh. That didn't happen overnight, won't be fixed overnight. There's no magical way that you can cast a spell and turn it all around. It takes work. It takes consistent, protracted effort to turn that kind of thing around. And usually it takes twice as long to fix it as it took to break it. You know what I'm talking about. That's the way it works. If it took 4 years just to randomly choose the amount of time the last administration was in City Hall, if it took 4 years to destroy it, it'll take 8 to even come close to trying to fix it. But we're dragging that process out because we're having meaningless, nonstop posturing arguments in City Hall around the board table like we're a bunch of peacocks trying to prove who has the biggest tail. We don't care. You are not remotely as important as you think you are. You were hired to do a job by the voters. You were hired to get a result. If you hire a plumber because your pipe is leaking and the kitchen is flooded, there's 3 inches of water on the floor, and they show up and spend all their time screaming about how they don't like the font on your personalized checks, do you care? Or does it tick you off because you're standing in ankle-deep water and nothing's being done about it because we have to argue about ridiculous, nonsensical side issues that no one cares about? Again, these are the hard numbers that the city obviously doesn't want you to know. We speak in glittering generalities about the revenue streams for Macomb, how the budget is doing. Oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine. There's no problem. It's reminiscent of the interview. I don't know if you saw this a couple of days where Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic ticket, reporter asked him, and he was very clear with his question. He asked him, said, the campaign has been running, at least in part, on a platform of lowering prices for everyday Americans and getting things back to a more affordable level. Could you name 1 or 2 specific things you plan to do if elected to make that happen? He gave a 5-minute talk on climate change as his answer. I didn't ask you about that. I need bread. Doritos are $7 a bag. That's what we're asking you about, sir. What are you going to do about it? Well, climate change is a very real threat. Oh, shut up. That is how ridiculous things have gotten. But it's also proof that it doesn't matter what an elected official says. Their support group, their fans, are going to be right behind it 100%. And everybody else, it doesn't matter what you say. They're not going to like you anyway. So you might as well just avoid everything, right? Might as well redirect, might as well reframe everything to something you feel justified in being outraged about, instead of doing the work to get the job done. Brookhaven sales tax up. Summit sales tax up. Magnolia sales tax up. Macomb? Well, you gotta understand, we're victims. There's so many bad things happening, and there's nothing we can do. Obviously, you know, they're not happening everywhere else. When your best argument for what's going on with the fact that fewer people are spending less money in Macomb is, well, things are real bad, and yeah, it's bad in other places, but they're handling it differently. That's not much of a reassuring take. But that's the one you're given and expected to just smile and move. Liberty went from 28,800 last year to 30,547 this year. Liberty is up, for crying out loud. Another town I like to look at, and let's go see, I haven't looked at this one yet, Columbia, because roughly similar size. It's a little bit larger, and it's not a good direct comparison like Macomb Brookhaven is, because it's in a different situation. It's not on the interstate, closer to Hattiesburg, got a bigger population. But I just like looking at the trends. Last year, for the August report, Columbia had $327,000 in sales tax diversions. This year, $335,000. Yes, it's less than Macomb. Yes, theirs is going up and ours is going down. Has anyone given any thought, and I know this is an insane idea, instead of checking with other municipalities to make sure we're making as much as they are as board members, because the most important thing is, how much goes in my pocket, instead of doing comparisons on that, contact a municipality whose sales tax is increasing and ask them what they're doing to make that happen. How is that happening? Why is that happening? And if you'd like to find a municipality you could talk to about that, you are spoiled for choice. They're all over the place. Have we done that work? Or are we too busy bickering over letterhead and screaming at the top of our lungs because we're offended because we literally don't understand how official letterhead works? We don't have that level of grasp of common things to allow us to understand how letterhead works, what it is. You sent that letter and you signed it with your name and you said it was from you, but my name's at the bottom. You didn't check with me. Don't have to. Shut up. What are you doing to fix the economy? What are you doing to make sales tax diversions in the city of Macomb go up? Because they're doing it in Summit. They're doing it in Magnolia. They're doing it in Brookhaven. They're doing it in Liberty. What are you doing? Let's talk about the things that actually matter, not the nonsense you want to get yourself all twisted up over so that you can have attention. This has well past the point of being annoying. It's also destructive. And there's no reason in it. So something has to change. Unfortunately, something is going to change, whether we want it to or not, because it's just going to keep going down. This has been a clear trend. And with the, we missed bringing in enough revenue to cover last year's $1 million budget increase by only $1 million. So I guess that's an accomplishment. We would have broken even if we hadn't had an increase. Is that what you're telling me? Now we're doubling down and increasing it again, another $300-something thousand. That's insane to me. The data is not there. There is no information there to back up. And you recall on Friday when we played the audio from the meeting, Suleiman McKenzie asked that very question. He said, I don't see anything in the data that shows where we're going to bring in an extra $1.3 million this year. The million we didn't get last year, plus the additional $300,000 this year in the budget. Don't see anything where we're going to get that from. Millage is not increasing, so it's not coming from property taxes, not coming from real estate, not coming from ad valorem. Sales tax diversions are down, not up. If you want to be charitable, you can squint and step back a few feet and say, well, they're kind of flat. Okay, well, we'll go with that. Flat. Flat is a lot different from going from 6.6 million to 8 million in sales tax diversions. Unless something changes, unless something is done, that's not going to happen. And I'm going to take it a step further. This is directly to the members of the Board of Mayor and Selectmen that I say this. You owe it to the business owners of Macomb to look out for their interests and to make sure they succeed. Because if they succeed, the city succeeds. If they don't succeed, well, you're Fayette at that point. Go look up the history of Fayette. Go look up Fayette, what it used to be, and what it is now, economically. It's the path we're going down. And the killer is we don't have to go down that path. There's nothing requiring us to go down that path. But we keep skipping down it. Keeping everybody distracted with squawking and screeching and side issue arguments and debates over nothing. And then when it comes time to talk about something substantive, we get double talk and silence. You owe it to the business owners of Macomb because guess what? A big chunk of that revenue you get to throw around and flap in the breeze and do whatever apparently you want with, that comes because of the hard work of the business owners in Macomb and in Pike County. Comes from them, not you. You generate nothing. You create nothing. It's all those people that didn't want to get out of bed this morning. They would have loved to have slept in, but instead they got out of bed, got up, got ready, and went and opened the store. They are responsible for the economic success of the city of Macomb if you allow them to be. Easiest way to allow them to be? Bare minimum, the baseline, stay out of their way. Quit making things harder. Ideally, what you want to do is, well, you want to do what Brookhaven is doing, or Magnolia, or Summit, or Liberty, or Columbia, or any of the other cities in Southwest Mississippi that are seeing growth, that are seeing more money being spent. It's not economics, it's an IQ problem. Not with the business owners, not with the consumers. It's also a perception problem. How do you fix the perception? Quit looking stupid is a good step one. This, by the way, is a great example of why I didn't actually go into public relations. I have the annoying habit of saying what everybody's thinking. Oh, that goes over great. Oh, well. When we come back, I've got the agenda for tonight's work session of the Macomb City Board of Mayor and Selectmen. I'm sure that it's just packed with items that will help turn around the economic situation in the city of Macomb. We'll take a little peeky-poo at it together next.
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
Don't escape in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalk
weekday mornings at 6 after 9 on 93.5 FM, or you can catch up anytime by going to
SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave in the Morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Catch up and catch on. North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of Macomb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com and through your Alexa devices. Welcome back, Super Talk, Mississippi Pike County, 93.5.
Begin the day with a friendly voice, a companion unobtrusive.
Oh, that's good advice.
Plays that song that's so elusive.
Like that.
And the magic music makes you
Hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday morning. If not, suck it up. Nobody likes a whiner.
up on your way, hit me up.
I actually had someone give me that advice when I was having a bad day one time, and I laughed so hard I almost had a gastric episode. It was good advice. I like that. All right, we have the agenda for tonight's work session of the Macomb City Board of Mayor and Selectmen with a new report out showing that once again sales tax diversions are down for the city of Macomb year over year. With information, again, coming directly from the Mississippi State Department of Revenue in Jackson, you know, information that can't be hidden or controlled or twisted around by anybody at the local level. They just put out it's a big, long report. It's like 6, 7, 8 sheets long, pages long, with every municipality in the state of Mississippi listed on it. What is it, 6? Yeah, it's 6. They put that out every month. And they won't stop, no matter how much you try to insist that this is proprietary information no one should get their hands on. They don't care what your opinion is because they know this is public information and the public deserves to know what's being done with their tax money. That's not a universal opinion amongst officials around the state. As we keep seeing, I'm sorry, the first red flag that you're trying to hide something is when you start hiding things. That's kind of a gimme. Right? All right. The agenda for tonight, obviously, of course, going to be packed full of things to help address this, because we wouldn't increase the budget again and then just sit back and business as usual, right? Item number 1, I want to rezone some property for a daycare. Actually, we need daycares, so it's not a bad thing. Number 2, payment for attendance for boot camp. Not military boot camp. It's Department of Archives and History. It's a thing they do to teach people not to knock down historic buildings. It's a little more complicated than that, but you know what I mean. Number 3, homelessness and a notice to demolish property. You know, it seems like those two things kind of go together, don't they? We want to talk about these homeless people in the area and what we can do for them, and also we got to knock these buildings down. Seems an interesting combination for one item. Val Deere is on the agenda to address the board about that. General Service Agreement, Garrett Smith is going to talk about that. Item number 5 from Chief Jawan Cloy, request to donate a Macomb Police Department vehicle. Number 6, when I first saw number 6 on the agenda, I said, why are we talking about this now? And then I realized this is the middle of September. This is when you have to talk about this. They're going to discuss the Christmas parade. You can make that face all you want. We're into that time of year. That is an appropriate agenda item for tonight's work session. It's time. Item number 7, Selectman Cotting has an item on the agenda, which means that Selectwoman Tabitha Felder Isaac will be screaming at some point, I'm sure. Because if City Hall caught on fire in the middle of a meeting and Selectman Cotting suggested everyone get out of the building, she would immediately start screaming about how her rights were being violated. He wants to talk about a road closure on 26th Street. Got a lot of roads that are going to get paved coming up here relatively quickly. A lot of things that are going to be fixed. And in some places, they're going to be working on some of the infrastructure underneath the roads. This is good stuff. If they do that, okay, we're moving in the right direction. Number 8, Selectman McKenzie. Here is a good one, and this speaks to exactly what I was talking about earlier, the fact that Macomb has a perception problem. Selectman McKenzie has on the agenda to discuss debris and trash pickup policy. That is appropriate. I don't know if you've noticed, I see people talking about it every so often. We have a lot of trash on the sides of the roads. We have a problem, and for example, on the interstate, and I can't quite understand this. You go to other parts of the state, and the median in the interstate, this is not a city problem, by the way. This is an MDOT problem. This is a state issue. City has no control over this. I want to preface it with that. You go to other parts of the state, and the median is nice, looks good. You get here, and it's the untold growth of centuries out there. The mowers never seem to make it quite this far, do they? They do. I see them every so often. I just don't think it's often enough. But on a semi-related note, item number 9, City Administrator wants to discuss the lawn service agreement. Number 10, invoice from Inframark. It would not be a month out of the 12 that we have every year if we didn't have another invoice from Inframark. They're going to buy a really nice pool with the money they're making, I assume. Mayor Lockley, item number 11, wants to invite everyone to the See You at the Poll prayer event. And then they have the monthly business reviews from department heads. As I've said before, they started that with every department head giving an update once a month. That turned into a really, really long work session, so they divided them up. The 2 work sessions every month, one of them, half of the department heads give their report, and then the rest do it in the second one. So we'll be getting roughly half of the business reviews from the department heads at tonight's work session. And again, sometimes we find out some good information we might not otherwise find out. Occasionally, a department head will say something. They'll reveal some information, and you can actually see the city administrator wince. Like, oh, we didn't want them to know about that. Watch the videos. You don't have to take my word for it. Watch the videos. If you miss it live, go back and watch the stream. You can see it for yourself. So that's the agenda. Debris and trash pickup policy. Yes, I think that would have something to do with the perception problem of Macomb. Lawn service agreement. Well, from the standpoint of keeping things looking nice, that could have some sort of effect on it. That is step 1, by the way. That is the initial move you make when you have to improve the general perception of your city. Make it look good. Who's going to get hired when they show up for the job? The guy in the 3-piece suit? Freshly coiffed? Or the guy that comes slumping in with slides and a dirty t-shirt and slouches down in the chair? You're looking at those two sitting across the desk. Which one are you going to hire? Which one do you already have the perception of that, oh, no, I don't want to mess with this one? So we have to fix the place up. It's got to look nice. And to battle a negative perception problem, it will not help. It will not work to just kind of get things back close to normal and then, oh, it's fixed. No, you got to overperform now. Because now you have to prove something. You're not starting from a baseline of general acceptance and understanding. That's gone. So you've got to outdo yourself. You've got to make this place look incredible. And that, as we learned last week, starts with making sure that no one uses the official city letterhead.
If you cry out for more, if you reached out for me.
That's why that aggravated me so badly, by the way, when we talked about it last week. I know there were some people who were like, what's the big deal, Dave? I'll tell you what the big deal is. That was an enormous flapping red flag of just how messed up the priorities are with some people that sit around that board table. And we got to get everybody pulling in the same direction or we're going to lose the tug of war. Close it out next.
Let me feel you in my hands. Let me cross this line and show you where it leads.
We're from the country and we like it that way. Dr. Romance for Selman's Jewelers. For 75 years, Selman's has served the wonderful folks of this area with fine quality jewelry, watch, and giftware needs. From natural and lab-grown diamonds to baby goods, silver jewelry, and much more. Selman's Jewelers on Delaware Avenue has worked hard to provide you with quality, service, and value. Come see us today. Layaways and financing available. Selman's since 1945.
North Pike football is back. It's another exciting season of North Pike Jaguar football on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County 93.5. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A, Toyota of Brookhaven, Ag Up, Exhaust Pro, Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center, Peterbilt of Macomb, and Lot Furniture. It's North Pike Jaguar football on the air at 93.5 FM. Available online at supertalkpikecounty.com and through your Alexa devices.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, but just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave Hughes here. Remember, every weekday morning at 9:06, it's Dave in the Morning, where we solve the problems of the world, or at least complain about them really loudly and sarcastically. And if you miss out, you can catch up with the podcast version of Dave in the Morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Well, you know, I'm sitting here, had a couple of more comments to make, looked up and realized, oh, wait, no, I ran the clock completely dry today, didn't I? We'll do it again tomorrow morning. Going to talk with our friends from Pals, starting at 9:06 here on SuperTalk Mississippi Pike County, my friend. See you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.